Welcome back. You are joining with me for Ancillary Physics 3 and we are discussing unit number 3, in which today in this lecture we are going to see the correction factor in the ballistic galvanometer. Come on. Correction factor or correction for damping in ballistic galvanometer. Right? In ballistic galvanometer, when we apply an electric current for a momentary time, what happens? It creates a twist, a sudden twist on the rectangular coil which is placed inside the permanent magnetic field. What we assumed in the previous lecture is the current is passed through the wire and it crossed the wire of rectangular region even before this rectangular coil starts to react for the current flowing into it when it is present in the magnetic field. That is, there will be a twist created even before the twist is started. This current will pass through. It's a momentary time, and we assume that the kinetic energy imparted because of this current passing through it will completely used to twist the torsional wire in which this rectangular wire is hanged. Rectangular current carrying wire is hanged on a torsional wire which is tied at one end in stiff way, another end it is with a spring. We assume that this kinetic energy is completely imparted. The kinetic energy imparted by the coil is completely used for twisting the wire. But these are not happen practically. First thing is, there is an induced EMF created because of the twist of the rectangular coil. That induced EMF will oppose this momentary rotation of the rectangular coil. Similarly, in the torsional wire, there is always an air resistance which also resists the twisting of that wire. So these are the two things which prevents this rectangular coil to throw for a maximum distance, so that when we apply light to the mirror present behind the rectangular present in that galvanometer, ballistic galvanometer, that will create, if you apply a spot of a light, that will create a throw. The throw is not an actual throw. This throw is less than that of the original throw, so that there may be a decrement in the throw. There may be a decrement in the actually observed throw, so that we need to make a correction factor in order to fit that decrement. That is what we are going to see now. So what are the two factors that will create damping? One thing is induced EMF due to the flow of current. In the wire under the magnetic induction. So this is one factor which will create damping in the original throw. And second factor, all the kinetic energy will not be converted into twist in the torsional wire. Why? Due to the air resistance. Due to the air resistance. Because of this, there exists a finite damping so that the observed throw, which is less than the original throw. So that we have calculated a formula for charge in the ballistic galvanometer, which is T pi 2 pi C by NBA into theta. That must be where this theta is the observed throw, which should be corrected with a correction vector. In this, there is a requirement for correction vector. Why? Because observed throw is less than that of the original throw. So this theta is observed throw, but we need to calculate original throw. So at this place, there will be an additional term. There will be an additional term in the place of theta. There will be an additional term in the place of theta. That is what we are going to deduce. For this purpose, let theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and so on, theta n be the maximum deflections, right, are the successive maximum deflections in left and right. Maximum deflections in left and right side from 0. Assume like that. That is, in the scale, this is the transparent scale, so that the spot of a light will pass through it and it reflected back from the mirror. So assume that this is 0. Then there will be the deflection, maximum throw. So once a throw is created, what will happen? In ballistic galvanometer, we would have a back and forth movement. There is an oscillation, right? So this is theta 1 from the right or maximum, theta 2 left maximum, theta 3 again second right, theta 4 second left, theta 5, theta 6 and so on. In that way it will be going. Assume like that. So that now it is found that theta 1 by theta 2, which is equal to theta 2 by theta 3, which is equal to theta 3 by theta 4, which is equal to and so on, that is equal to D, right? That is, if you take the ratio of the first maxima on the right side to the first maxima on the left side, right, between these two, if you take theta 1 by theta 2, that is equal to, if you take the ratio between this second maxima on the right hand side to the second maxima on the left hand side, that is and the first maxima on the left hand side to second maximum on the right hand side, that is theta 2 by theta 3, or the second maximum of the left hand side to the second maximum of the right hand side, that is theta 3 by theta 4. If you take like this, or you can write theta 4 divided by theta 5 or theta 5 divided by theta 6 and so on. If you take like this, all will yield a same value, that is denoted by theta, right? It is denoted by theta. What does it mean actually? From 0 to theta 1, then, right, theta 1 to theta 2. So this is one part of the travel, and this is up to 0 second part of the travel, then here to theta 2 third part of the travel, then again theta 2 to 0 fourth part of the travel, right? If you consider this as vibration, 0 to theta 1 is the quarter part of the full vibration. One full vibration means starting from 0 to right maximum, then coming back to 0, then going back to left maximum, then coming back to 0, right? So this is the trajectory. So this one length, right, that is 1/4 of the entire vibration. So this is 1/4, this is another 1/4, this is another 1/4, this is another 1/4. Successively, this is 1/4, and if it obtains up to 0, then you can say that 2/4. When it goes up to this point, then you can say 3/4. When again it comes here, it is called complete. So in that way, now theta 1 by theta 2, that is half of the vibration. Similarly, theta 2 to theta 3, that is another half of the vibration. So that if you take a half of the vibration, then for that value, that is if you take theta 1 by theta 2, theta 2 by theta 3 and so on, it becomes D. It yield, all the ratio will yield the same value, which we denoted as D, that is called decrement per half vibration. So this D is called, this T is called decrement per half vibration. Decrement for half vibration. And let this D, which is equal to e power lambda, then you can take lambda, which is equal to log e of D, which is called logarithmic decrement. Logarithmic decrement, right? So this is for half vibration. Suppose if you want 10 for a complete vibration, how would you write the ratio? Complete vibrations means you have to start from theta 1 to theta 2, theta 2 to then again theta 3. So that theta 1 by theta 3, starting from here, coming back, then again back to Babylon. But once starting from theta 1, you are reaching theta 2, then you won't again obtain theta 1 again. Rather, you will go up to only theta 3 because of damping. So that for complete vibration, we can write equation as theta, the ratio is theta 1 by theta 3. So this you can rewrite as theta 1 by theta 2 multiplied by theta 2 by theta 3. But we know theta 1 by theta 2 is D, theta 2 by theta 3 is also D, so that this becomes D square, but D is equal to e power lambda, so that D square equal to e power lambda into e power lambda, that is e power lambda plus lambda, which is equal to e power 2 lambda, right? So that this is the decrement factor for the complete vibration. So decrement factor for the complete vibration is d, which is equal to e power 2 lambda. Okay, but assume that there is a theta. There is a theta which is the true first throw. Let theta be the true first throw. What do you mean by the true first throw? That is the actual throw without damping. If this is the actual throw without damping, means what it would be? This theta will be greater than theta 1, right? This theta will be greater than this theta 1 because theta 1 is obtained in the presence of the damping occurred because of the two factors that we have mentioned in the beginning. So theta is greater than theta 1. Fine. See, here from 0 to theta 1, from 0 to theta 1, it is the length for the quarter vibration, right? We have obtained a decrement for half vibration, that is d, which is equal to e power lambda. But here it is quarter vibration, right? For this quarter vibration, for theta 1, if you moving from 0 to theta 1, then that is nothing but quarter vibration. For that you can write d, which is equal to e power lambda by 2, that is half of the half vibration. Half vibration could for half vibration d is equal to e power lambda, so that for quarter vibration d becomes e power lambda by 2. Now therefore if you write theta by theta 1, that is equal to e power lambda by 2. But you know, e power x, for that you can write the formula 1 plus x by 1 factorial plus x squared by 2 factorial plus and so on. This is the expansion. If you apply this, in the place of x you put lambda by 2. So here you can put lambda by 2, here you can put lambda square by 4, right? In that way. And you skip the higher order terms, you consider only these terms. So that you can write theta by theta 1, which is equal to e power 1 plus lambda by 2. So that you can write theta is equal to 1 plus lambda by 2 into theta 1. Right? So that this is the term. You have to add extra in the place of theta, that is the correction term. So that this q becomes t by 2 pi c by nba multiplied by 1 plus lambda by 2 into theta 1. So this is the charge, original charge. This is the actual charge that is passing through the ballistic galvanometer when the current is passed through a momentary time. But we need to calculate the value of lambda. If you want to calculate the value of lambda, you have to count for 11 throws. Okay, you have to calculate for 11 throws. Then you have to take the ratio, that is theta 1 by theta 11. How would you do that? Theta 1 by theta 2 multiplied by theta 2 by theta 3, then theta 3 by theta 4, then theta 4 by theta 5 multiplied by theta 5 by theta 6 multiplied by theta 6 by theta 7 multiplied by theta 7 by theta 8 multiplied by theta 8 by theta 9 multiplied by theta 9 by theta 10 multiplied by theta 10 by theta 11. So that is equal to for one thing, one ratio we take half vibration, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is there. So that e power 10 lambda. So there is an e power 10 lambda. In this case, if you take the logarithmic decrement, you can write lambda is equal to 1 by 10 log to the power e theta 1 by theta 11. If you convert this is into log base 10, then you have to multiply this with 2 power 3026 divided by 10 log base 10 theta 1 by theta 11. This is lambda. So this is the expression for lambda. Okay. So in that way you can calculate the value of theta and value of the correction factor in the value of lambda and the expression for the damping term, damping correction term actually, not damping term. So this is how we can obtain, right? So let me recollect what we have done once again. Actually in ballistic galvanometer, the throw which we are obtaining is not a true throw, and because due to the induced EMF, it is because of the flow of current in the wire under the magnetic induction, and all the kinetic energy will not be converted into twist in the torsional wire because due to the air resistance. These are the two factors which will not allow the original throw in the ballistic galvanometer, so that the throw that we have obtained in this equation is not the original throw. Original throw is little bit greater than this throw. This is the observed throw. So we need to create a correction factor. For that, let theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and theta n will be the successive maximum deflections in the right and left direction from 0. That is, this is 0, this is theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, theta 5, theta 6 and so on. Now, if you take the ratio between the half vibration, which means theta 1 by theta 2 or theta 2 by theta 3 or theta 3 by theta 4 and so on, that is the half of the vibration. If you take all the ratios of the half the vibrations of all cases, that will lead to a constant which we have denoted as d. So that is called decrement per half vibration. If that decrement value, if we define that e power lambda, then lambda becomes log e multiplied by t, which is called logarithmic decrement. This is for half vibration. If we write that for complete vibration, we have to take theta 1 by theta 3, that is from here to here half vibration, from here to here full vibration. But full vibration we will not again obtain the starting point. There is a decrement always, there is a damping always, so that we will start from theta 1 and we will end up with only theta 3. So that we have to write theta 1 by theta 3. That is nothing but the product of the two half vibrations. First half vibration is theta 1 by theta 2. Second half vibration is theta 2 by theta 3. For each half vibration you have to put d. D into d is d square. For d you can put e power lambda. D square is e power lambda multiplied by e power lambda, which is equal to e power 2 lambda. This is for full vibration. Now, let theta be the true throw. If it is a true throw, that will be greater than that of theta 1. So that we have denoted it here, a little bit greater than theta. But from 0 to theta 1, it is quarter vibration. If you write d for quarter vibration, you can write e power lambda by 2. Why? Because d for half vibration is e power lambda. If you want half of the half vibration, that is quarter vibration, then you can write e power lambda by 2. If you take theta by theta 1, that is nothing but e power lambda by 2. You can rewrite this for, you apply the series expansion, power series expansion or exponential e power x. So for e power x you can write e power x, you can write 1 plus x by 1 factorial, x squared by 2 factorial plus and so on. So that e power lambda by 2, accordingly you can write 1 plus lambda by 2 by 1 factorial plus lambda square by 4 by 2 factorial plus and so on. We consider only the higher order terms. We have considered only the higher order terms, so that we restrict with only two terms. So that theta 1 by theta 2, which is equal to 1 by lambda by 2, 1 plus lambda by 2, or theta equal to 1 plus lambda by 2 multiplied by theta 1. Right? So you substitute this term 1 plus lambda by 2 multiplied by theta 1 in the place of theta in this equation. That will give you the true value for the charge, which is t by 2 pi c by nba multiplied by 1 plus lambda by 2 multiplied by theta 1. Okay, but here this lambda we need to calculate. For that we have considered 11 throws, and for all 11 throws we consider half vibrations. We split up into half vibrations, we have multiplied it, so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 terms, so that e power 10 times lambda that we have converted into logarithmic base 10, which will give you lambda is equal to 2.3026 by 10 multiplied by log theta 1 by theta 11. So this is the damping correction that we need to apply. Fine. So with this, the concept of correction for damping in ballistic galvanometer, we can restrict with this. An example calculation for an ballistic galvanometer. There is a small problem. A condenser charged to 2 volts is discharged through a ballistic galvanometer when the corrected through is 9.6 centimeters and the current sensitivity is 2.2 into 10 power minus 8 ampere per centimeter and period 12 seconds. Find the capacity of the condenser. So what is given? The capacitor is charged to 2 volts. So the potential difference in the capacitor is 2 volt. And this charge is passed through a galvanometer. And the corrected through is 9.6 centimeter. Theta is equal to 9.6 centimeters. Current sensitivity SE, which is equal to 2.2 into 10 power minus 8 ampere per centimeter, and T, that is equal to 12 seconds. What is asked? What is the capacitance? That is asked. And we know the formula. So solution is, we know the formula, that is charge which is equal to product of capacitor into V. What is asked? Capacitance is asked, so that C equal to Q by V. And what is the formula for Q in ballistic galvanometer? Q equal to T pi 2 pi C pi NBA multiplied by theta. Right? Now, if capacitor is discharged through galvanometer, then there is a steady state current will be flowing. Okay? If there is a steady state current I, that is flows in the galvanometer, that will produce steady deflection. That is D. Okay, for that we can write the expression for I using the moving coil galvanometer, that is nothing but C by NBA multiplied by D, where D is the steady deflection. Actually, in that derivation we have denoted that also as theta, but in order to differentiate this theta with this is the throw, this theta is the throw, so this D is steady deflection. In order to make differentiation, here the theta is denoted as D, but when you look back to the derivation, we have also put theta in this place. Okay, fine. Now if you write I by D, that is nothing but C by NBA. Okay, so this I by D is nothing but current sensitivity. Fine. Now we can replace this C by NBA with, okay, C by D, so that T pi 2 pi multiplied by I by D into D. Fine. Now here we can substitute T, I by D, D, all these values, we will get Q. What is that? T is 12 seconds, right? T is 12 by 2 pi. I by D is nothing but 2.2 into 10 power minus 8. Then D is, what is D? Actual throw, corrected throw, that is 9.6. right? If you make these calculations, you will end up with 4.03033 into 10 power minus 7 coulomb. This is Q. But what we need to calculate C. So that C is equal to 4.033 into 10 power minus 7 divided by 2. So that will give you 0.2017 right, into 10 to the power minus 6, right, into 10 to the power minus 6. This is capacitance, so you can put unit for it. Okay, so this is one example problem, and that we have discussed as an example. Fine. Then, so there is a term deadbeat and ballistic galvanometers. So what is deadbeat galvanometer and what is ballistic galvanometer? That we have discussed in the next video. Until then, be safe. Thanks for watching. Bye.